Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:06 on this Thursday morning in your nation's capital. Thanks for tuning in here to O'Connor and Company so we can get you started and get you equipped for the day, hopefully with a smile on your face. And let me just be the first to remind you that you shouldn't be eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream. No matter how much you might like it, Cherry Garcia is damn good, but they're lunatics. Ben had a tough day on Capitol Hill yesterday, disrupting a hearing with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and well, we'll get to that a little later, and a lot more with Hans von Spakovsky at 7:05, because the Supreme Court will be hearing the arguments over birthright citizenship today. That's a monumental, potentially game-changing Supreme Court argument. 7:35, Representative Troy Nehls of Texas. It's National Police Week, after all, and the Senate had a great opportunity to vote on a bill to protect police officers and honor fallen police officers. Democrats blocked it because Democrats hate cops, except when they can use them as props in a January 6th hearing to attack Republicans and Trump. 8:05, KT McFarland, all about Trump's trip to the Middle East. And then at 8:35, Lisa Terry will join us on National Police Week. It's Larry O'Connor with Mercedes Schlapp. She loves cops. I've seen it many times. Mercy, good morning.
Back the blue. Back the blue, baby. That's what we do. We have to do that.
Yes, Meredith loves cops, too. Meredith loves cops. She also has an inordinate affection for firemen. In fact, it makes me a little jealous sometimes. Whenever a fire truck goes by, she always waves at the firemen. I'm like, why are you doing that?
She does?
Yeah.
So, Matt Foldy, our friend
yes.
on the Right Squad, he is a volunteer firefighter, he does the public affairs. Because I'm like, what is he? He can't carry one of those big hoses. It'd be a disaster. I can't imagine. It just won't work.
Face it,
can't
volunteer
even wear that
firemen.
gear. I think he'll fall over. So
volunteer firemen aren't really allowed to put out fires. Their job is to make sure the beer is cold for the real firefighters when they come back to the station.
Yes, absolutely.
But they do great. Matt does a great job. And you mentioned the Right Squad. Chris Plant, as our listeners know, is taking a few days off. He took the day off radio yesterday, too. So you were sitting in his chair at the Right Squad last night on Newsmax. And I was to your left and Foldy was to your right. Although politically, I think it went the other way around.
No, and it was a great show, actually. It was just wildly fun.
We had fun. You were surrounded
by
men.
They let the kids be in charge. I know, it was me and the guys. It was outnumbered the other way around. So,
oh my gosh, what a concept.
I know, what a concept. Good concept. But a lot of breaking news with everything that's going on with President Trump on his Arab nation tour. I mean, it's rock star material. I think there's more gold there than anywhere else in the globe, and lots of camels. So, apparently there was a sword dance last night. You can't miss it. It's so fascinating.
I was waiting for Salome to come out and do the Dance of the Seven Veils, and I'd ask for John the Baptist's head on a platter. It's like, what am I watching right now? This is where's Peter O'Toole showing up on a camel to start screaming at the Arabs?
But
it is a busy news cycle, and we've got a lot to get to. But we have to take, we talk about everything on this show. That's why you fit in so well, Mercy, because a lot of times we talk about entertainment and pop culture, and an absolute historic, monumental, once-in-a-lifetime theatrical event occurred here in the greater Washington area last weekend. If we could just bring in a little musical accompaniment here. I'm a musical theater aficionado. Some would call an expert. And I spent my weekly, I went to the Kennedy Center twice, once for the opera and once for the National Symphony, but I was not able to
you're so fancy-pantsy.
Well, I was not able to make another theatrical commitment that I was hoping to fulfill, but it had a very limited run, very limited schedule.
Very limited schedule.
A revival special engagement performance of The Little Mermaid at a school that will not be named in Alexandria. But most exciting about this casting, no one cares about the mermaid. No one cares about the crab. No one cares about Flounder. The two most important characters are King Triton and, of course, Ursula, the evil, enchanted, wicked octopus demon woman. That's the meatiest role in the entire thing. And those two parts, the young actor playing King Triton has the last name of Spicer, and the young woman who played Ursula has the last name of Schlapp. This was an event for the ages.
It was talk about a monumental confrontation between the two families. I was hoping Ursula would take King Triton down and succeed. Yes. You know when you watch a movie and you're like, can we have an alternative ending? That's how I felt. I was like, take the King Triton down. And then Sean's son was injured. He got injured the night of opening night. So he had a sling because he had busted his shoulder.
In a basketball, they had a basketball game, I think, right?
Yes. So we're getting ready for this big basketball game this week that they do at the school, next week at the school. So Ursula, let me tell you, it's so sweet. Middle school theater, adorable, so fun. They start working on this like in December. Sweet Lucia, I shouldn't say, she's very funny.
She wasn't very sweet as Ursula.
No, she's the funniest Schlapp, and she owned the role. She just belted out all the songs, really totally unafraid, and I'm really proud of the work that she did. And and Will Spicer was fantastic. He was King Triton. I got to do his makeup, and it was just like, this is the thing. The story behind it is that Newsmax had asked me to go to the conclave last week to do the coverage for the conclave for the Pope, for the now American Pope. Hello, and I had to choose between the Pope and Tech Week and making sure I was there for my daughter for her musical theater performance. So the Pope had to wait.
I think you chose wisely. I mean, listen, go into Rome and reporting live on the election of an American Pope. That happens all the time.
A once-in-a-lifetime experience, quite frankly.
Wait a second. That's yeah, but you know what? Seeing your daughter perform in a musical is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, too. And ultimately, in your later years, Mercy, looking back, I assure you, being there for your daughter for Little Mermaid is probably going to be more important. Probably.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I wish I had been there. She looked amazing, and I don't know. I love all your daughters, but Lucia and I have a lot in common, and we both like to say things to get a rise out of people.
Oh, 100%. She does. Yeah, she is as Trumpian as they
sometimes
get.
she has no filter, which is quite wonderful.
There is no filter.
Too.
Yes, that is Lucia.
Does she want to pursue performing? Has she thought about that?
I haven't had this conversation. I don't. We'll see. We're still in middle school theater, and I can't be one of those parents that's like, oh, my child is just the best, so she should do this. Like, there's so much stress that these parents put on their kids. The good thing is, by number 5, when you have the 5th kid, you can't put that much pressure on them or anything because you're kind of so exhausted because you're put so much pressure on all the other kids to succeed. So, I have a feeling Lucia's going to find her path without a problem.
Well, listen, she's also she's the youngest of 5 girls. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. You gotta do things that are sort of outside the box to get attention in a family like
100%, and that is exactly what she does.
I love her. And I feel terrible that I missed. So next time I'm over to visit, I want a command performance.
She'll do it for you, Larry. Uncle Larry, she'll of course do the command performance. It's going to be
just
great.
Just cue the music, and she'll be there. She'll
be like, let me start
singing. Did she get to keep that costume, by the way? Does she have
does. I'm like, what are we doing with these tentacles? She's like, oh, we're keeping them. I was like, okay, I don't know where we're going to put them.
I got plans for these.
We've got plans. Halloween, anything. She's got the wig. She's all set.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about Police Week here in town. The Candlelight Vigil happened in Washington. You've probably seen a lot of cops if you're driving around town. It's a very cool thing to see. And we'll talk about how Bernie Moreno, new senator, proposed a new pro-police bill, and it was killed by Democrats in the Senate. And so all the lip service that you hear from Democrats about first responders and cops and all the grandstanding and all the photo ops over January 6th about how much they love cops. No, they don't care about cops. They constantly tell you. It's 5:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
So as you've been hearing every morning here on O'Connor and Company, it is National Police Week. Here in Washington, D.C., that means a whole lot of activities honoring cops, honoring the fallen, making sure that memorial funds are well funded to take care of the children left behind and the wives and husbands left behind. Actually, to that end, over at WMAL.com, we have a donation page for the Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. But please, if you have the opportunity, even if it's just $5, that goes a long way. I've already put it out on my social media there if you want to follow me on X and find a link to it. But that's at WMAL.com where we can raise money for that fund. We had Senator Bernie Moreno yesterday. He is from Ohio, right? He
took Vance's seat.
Right. He took Vance's seat?
He won Vance's seat.
No, they're having a special election on Vance's seat. He took
no, you're right. He took the guy why am I blanking out?
Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown.
Yeah, Sherrod Brown. Yes.
Yes. He just won in this last election. Senator Moreno proposed a bill on the floor. You would think something that Democrats and Republicans can come together and support. Listen to him describe the bill yesterday, cut 2.
We can stop this. We can today. Today can be a day that people, Americans watching, who have less and less faith in our government's ability to come together to get things done. When they see bickering and arguing, that they don't quite understand what it is that we're doing here, today is a day that we can come together and say we, on both sides, not as Democrats or as Republicans, but as Americans, that we support law enforcement. And that's what I'm asking my Democrat colleague to consider. Just a simple statement. We, the entire United States Senate, can come together for once, unanimously, and say we have the backs of law enforcement and pass the Larry Henderson Act. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah. The Larry Henderson Act is named after a sheriff's deputy who was killed in the line of duty last week in Ohio. And what this bill says is that any criminal who commits a violent act against a police officer will have severe consequences. You basically, you can't harm a cop. You can't beat up a cop. You can't kill a cop. You can't resist arrest in such a way that you're going to harm a police officer. Police officers deserve to be protected. They wear the uniform. They're willing to take a bullet. For us, we should protect them with severe consequences. The Democrats killed it, Mercedes. So all of this talk after January 6th about they love cops and they bring out, all the Capitol Police to grandstand for them and be their models and their props for the television cameras. It was all show and it was all politics. When cops need them, they're not there.
Joe Biden, they changed their position a bit. They went from really hardcore defund the police, and this was during the time of Black Lives Matter and after the death of George Floyd, to the fact that they had to change their position, I guess you could say, or their wording, because the polls show that the vast majority of Americans agreed with, ensuring that our law enforcement had enough resources, and they didn't believe in this defund the police concept. But then you have these Democrats like Senator Chris Murphy, basically, where they've used the language of overinvestment in police. So it's like, where do they stand? But I think this is more, I think there's something more to be said here with the Democrats. It's the fact that they've lost their footing on almost every single messaging out there, on almost every single issue. Whether it's what's happening with these crazy protests in front of the ICE detention centers, which is like, okay, so really what you're protesting is like, let these criminal illegal aliens out. That's where you're going from a policy standpoint. I mean, it makes no sense politically. Like, nothing that they're doing makes sense politically. And then on top of that, now with this whole defund the police mentality, or that police are being overly invested, is, I think, again, another losing argument. They keep going back to these arguments where you're like, wait a second, so you still think biological men should be participating in women's sports? And the American people are like, no, and the Democrats are like, yes. So it makes no sense.
they can try to gloss it over and they can try to make it sound reasonable, but ultimately they're always going to have to go back to these positions, that they hate cops, that they're pro-illegal immigrant criminal, and they want to defend their rights over innocent citizens, civilians' rights. And, yeah, they want men to compete against women and invade their private spaces. Let's just give you a reflection, because Senator Chris Murray is running for president. He's grown a beard. He's doing all this media.
Wait, he's running for president? How did I miss that?
Oh, he's doing so much media. He's all over the place.
I thought
he
it was
left
Pete
his wife
Buttigieg.
and his family. That he grew a beard. Growing a beard means you're running for president. I can tell.
Oh,
so listen. Let's not forget. This is who they are. This is what he said in 2021. Cut 3.
I think a lot of people out there who are very frustrated with the way that money is spent today is that they see an underinvestment in things like summer jobs and summer camps and an overinvestment in police.
There you go. We don't invest enough in summer camps, but we need to invest more in police.
It's just a loser argument. I keep thinking, like, who's writing the talking points for the Democrats? I mean, are they like smoking pot every day? And they're like, let's just come up with the craziest idea, or, people want to feel safe in their communities. There's no question that if we do not invest in our police, that's a problem, especially in our communities. They want to be able to call the cops if there's a problem, and they want them to respond immediately.
Mercy, they're writing their talking points because this is who they are. This is their core belief, and this is how, if you're going to be the nominee, you've got to check these boxes. Meanwhile, in our backyard, the Arlington County Board, they're working actively to prevent local police from cooperating with ICE. They're trying to eliminate Section 7 of the county's trust policy that previously said Arlington's commitment to strengthen trust with the immigrant communities there. Implemented in 22. The section of the policy outlines when police can contact ICE when an illegal immigrant or gang member has been arrested. They're trying to make it harder for illegal immigrants and gang members in Arlington to be deported. It's 5:24. Coming up, egg prices are down. That's just a fact. And CNN was forced to admit it, but the way they did it is hilarious, and we'll tell you next.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:37, and we're chugging along on this early Thursday morning. Thanks for being part of our show. You're the biggest part of the show. In fact, it's nothing without you. Coming up at 7:05, Hans von Spakovsky is going to give us a preview of the Supreme Court's hearing today on birthright citizenship. This is a historic day for this argument on the 15th day of May in our year of the Lord 2025. 7:35, Representative Troy Nehls of Texas on National Police Week. 8:05 brings us KT McFarland on Trump's Middle East trip. And then at 8:35, Lisa Terry, National Police Week. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Mercedes Schlapp. I was going to say con Mercedes Schlapp because I'm nothing if not Latinx.
Latinx, that's right. There's no such thing as Latinx, but whatever.
There isn't. All right, so egg prices are down. Let's tell the story as quickly as we can because we got to get to CNN because that's the more important part is how bad the media is. But the news story is that egg prices absolutely have plummeted since Trump took office. As you know, prices were already going up when he became president because of the Biden administration's policy of, well, basically a chicken genocide. It was their reaction to the avian flu scare. That, of course, you don't have enough chickens, you don't have enough eggs. That's just how things work. I read it in a biology class once. I'm not sure which came first, but I know that you need one to get the other. Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary, made this the number one issue for her to address. And it's been an unmitigated success that the egg prices have I just went and bought but do you buy eggs on a large scale? I buy the 3 dozen little pallets because we go through so many eggs in our house.
We go through a lot of eggs too, especially like I'm on this detox diet, and eggs is actually part of it because it's very easily digestible. It's a
great source of proteins, healthy fats. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So, and here's a quick flashback to Brooke Rollins. This was April 30th, the Trump cabinet meeting where they talked about the accomplishments, because you'll remember the media and Democrats, 2 weeks in, they're like, I thought prices were going to go down and the egg prices are so high. Again, he inherited that mess. But in just 100 days, here was Brooke Rollins, your Secretary of Agriculture, bragging about what they've been able to do.
Well, I'm not sure if anyone's heard, but the price of eggs is down. I know it's news. Listen, sir, today as we celebrate the 100th day, I think that it's just such a joy and an honor to continue to do this work. So thank you for that. We have been obviously very focused on the cost of groceries, specifically eggs led the way, as you have so eloquently discussed over the last few months, and
Okay.
We're holding tight.
So that's how it was. So now can we get to the CNN part, because it's just
Yes.
glorious. All right. Here's the headline yesterday from CNN. Trump's egg price fiction has suddenly become reality. So their take on this is not that egg prices are down. Their take is Trump's been lying that egg prices are coming down, but now egg prices are down.
Well, let's just read the first line of this ridiculous article. For months, President Donald Trump has falsely claimed that egg prices are tumbling. It wasn't true then, but it's true now. So it's basically saying that he was lying throughout this whole period of time, and then now he's telling the truth. I mean,
Right.
has the media not learned? I mean, this has been the theme this morning. The Democrats have not learned their lessons on any of these radical policy issues. The media has not learned their lesson of trying to destroy Donald Trump and make these ridiculous claims. They can't help it. They cannot help it.
It's amazing.
It's a problem.
And that egg prices fell 12.7% last month, the biggest monthly decline since 1984.
Right.
The biggest decline in egg prices in 40 years, Mercedes. And no one at CNN thinks to themselves, well, it's possible that the president and the Department of Agriculture and the department and various other cabinet secretaries, they see leading indicators. They know what's going on at the highest level before it filters down to the grocery store. And so maybe they were ahead of the game because they saw where the prices were going. So from Trump's perspective, knowing at the, deliverable portion of the egg transaction from the farmers to the vendors to the grocery stores to the markets, the prices were down. And now finally CNN is forced to admit it months later that, oh, yeah, I guess they did do something that fixed the problem. But the entire article, the entire point of this article is not things are better in your life. The entire point was, well, Trump was lying, and we can prove he was lying.
Yeah, but then now he's not lying because the egg prices did actually go down.
And he wasn't lying
ridiculousness of the story. And Secretary Brooke Rollins, she on X posted, "This is unbelievable. The whole story that POTUS is lying about egg prices going down, but egg prices are going down. Give me a break, CNN. You just can't make this up." And this is the frustration with CNN. It's why they've lost so much credibility, except for Scott Jennings, who's on CNN, who kind of keeps them a little bit on task. But it's just outrageous to watch, to read this. And it's CNN business. It's not only CNN. It's CNN business. There's no straight up news there. It is, Trump's lying, but now he's not. I mean, that's really what they're trying to say.
So where's the editor? Where's the editor who brings the writer in and say, all right, help me understand
the editor
this story.
is deciding that. Think about it. They decide the headlines. The editor is all in cahoots with this type of writer.
I don't
They're
even
all
think
in
they have
cahoots.
editors anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's an anti-Trump AI that they just plug stuff into and say,
maybe
the egg prices are down. Write me an article that has an anti-Trump slant. And this is what comes out, and they copy and paste it, and then they get their clicks. And then we talk about it. It's 5:43.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Can I just, for a quick moment, I love hearing that ad for Les Miserables so much.
I know, me too. I get so pumped.
I cannot wait.
I'm going to try to take the... Yeah. We should definitely plan it.
We should do a whole O'Connor and Company team, because I know Heather's been thinking about bringing her husband Derek and the daughters. Michael Shelton, our board up, wants to go. I know Julie and Patrice would love to go. Julie should bring her boys. We should do a big Les Mis thing.
I would
think
love
the
it.
president's doing a fundraiser on
opening night. They're doing the fundraiser.
Wow. Let's figure something out.
It's going to be a big night.
It is my favorite show of all time. You know that I was at. I want to talk about this.
No, just say it. What happened?
I was at the very first performance in New York City. It was the dress rehearsal before it opened. I had just moved to New York to work on Broadway. And so Les Mis first performed in America here in Washington, D.C. They did their pre-Broadway tryout for a limited run. I think it was 4 weeks at the Kennedy Center. And then it came to New York, and I was at the dress rehearsal before the first audience.
Oh, my.
Before
That's
the first
amazing.
paid audience. So I was in the first public performance of Les Miserables in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the audience. And I'll never forget that night. There were only about 500 people in the theater, but it was all professionals who worked in the business. And we had never seen anything like it. And it was absolutely blown away. It was
it's a
absolutely
great story
amazing.
of sacrifice, of love, and of bravery.
And of God's grace.
And of God's grace.
And
That is
our
right. And God's
spiritual
And
Christian
God's
role
mercy.
on this planet.
Yep. So true.
It's about morality. It's about no wonder it's no one writes shows like this anymore.
I know. I know.
Knowing the theater business the way I know it, I wonder if someone proposed Les Miserables today, if it would actually be accepted, if they could raise money and produce it. This was the Reagan era. It was 1987 was when this was first produced.
Well, I do think there's a revival happening in the United States, and really I think almost in Europe as well and across the globe. I do think that there's a revival to this sense of right and wrong, good and evil.
Yeah.
So I think now I could see more of these shows kind of surviving because the wokeism has been so destructive. I mean, it's been absolutely destructive in our society. And it just went way to the left, way too crazy. And I think people don't want that.
Well, and also just in terms of pure business and marketing. So who buys tickets to the theater right now? It's our generation now. We're the ones with disposable income. We're the ones who can afford to go to the theater. And what theater were we raised on? Well, we were raised on shows like this. If your parents took you to the theater, it was good, wholesome, amazing, and sweeping shows like Les Miserables. And I so applaud President Trump for taking the reins at the Kennedy. First of all, the Kennedy Center was being mismanaged into a toilet. Even the woke left will admit that they were bankrupt. They had just wasted. I think they got $250,000.
I got to share with you. They sent this. I think it's a Vanity Fair article. So Daniel Littman sent it over to me, the reporter from Politico, who
was on the Right Squad last night.
So they had a quote unquote alternative schedule of the Kennedy Center, which is hilarious. So it has April 16th through the 22nd. Oh, I'm going to pull it up here. It goes CPAC tournament on pickleball, and then they have, Big Balls, has a discussion with Big Balls, and a night with Stephen Miller. It's kind of hysterical.
Dude, I would totally go to a night with Stephen Miller.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard. I was like, "This is really clever." Coming from, I think it's Vanity Fair. So we were
the
kind of
performing arts are so important, and the classics. If we want, we talk about Western civilization and Western values so much. It's embodied in great works of art. And yes, I know Les Miserables is modern. It was written in 85, really, is when they wrote it. But, they're about to open Porgy and Bess at the National Opera. This is an American classic that speaks to our history, but also of our culture. And I mean, that's important. That's what a nation is, its art as well as its finance and its economics.
That's right.
And seeing the Kennedy Center repositioned as a showcase for the greatest in American performing arts is a beautiful thing to see. So I'm hoping we can all get a group together to go to Les Miserables. I think it would be brilliant.
think that'd be fantastic.
All right.
Let's do
make it happen. And by the way, just not incidentally, it's great to hear Kennedy Center advertising here on WMAL with such a heavy cycle. I think it's mostly on our show.
We should support the Kennedy Center. It's literally America's, arts performing center. So it's an important organization to support, and we're bringing, they're bringing the classics back, which is nice.
And I would add to that just real quickly, because whenever anyone goes to New York, it's always like, oh, well, at least one night we're going to go see a show on Broadway. If any of you have, I know that you have friends and family who come to visit Washington, D.C., because second to New York, I think we're the number 2 tourist destination, maybe Orlando, Florida, with Disney World. But if you've got friends or family who are coming to D.C. for a week and they're going to do all the monuments and they're going to go do the tour of Congress and all that stuff, tell them, implore them, beg them, one night while they're here, go to the Kennedy Center. I don't understand why every international tourist and American tourist coming to this town doesn't make that part of their tourist experience. You should. It's incredible. 554.
It is incredible.